Nope.
Test, test, test.
That's so weird.
Call Emerald Data, I don't know how long before they call me back. Literally, I checked it right before.
I mean, it was working until we had our, it doesn't have anything to do with what was going on back
They
then.
shouldn't, this is like totally, I mean, it feeds into there, but it was all working.
5 seconds ago, and something on the light.
That's why I,
We'll have to use some kind of manual on the fresh one, so somehow, I don't know if that cord will reach up and we can.
Well, it's, I mean, that's a handheld, so yeah, it would have to be passed around. Oops, sorry. I don't know if it's gonna reach.
Well, it reached that way.
Yeah, I'm looking.
We just started, let them do the pledge and everything and call them and let him do
Hello?
his. Cause here's the main thing, the most
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna be talking about is Mr. Dallas.
Yeah, let's start with that one, and Deanna, in the meantime, you can
Yes.
reach out to Emerald.
Okay.
Let's start there, just go one at a time.
He's doing prayer.
Oh, I think he's calling it to order. It won't reach,
So I ain't
So
calling
we
it
haven't
order.
done anything yet.
but it's
Oh,
not
you-
gonna reach to.
We'll have to have you scoop.
Yes.
May we remember these thoughts during this week of Thanksgiving holiday. It is in your holy name we pray these things. Amen.
Oh, that's right.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm pretty sure that we're to.
Video stop working?
Yes. Okay. I was gonna say additions and deletions.
The sound's still on, but the video ain't working.
Oh, okay.
And just make sure you announce yourself so that everyone has your time.
Okay. All right. Well, additions or deletions, and Deanna's not here, but did we have any, or did she say that there were any additions or deletions to the agenda? There she goes.
No, Mayor.
Okay. All right, then adoption of agenda. Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner White and a second by Vice Mayor. Any commissioner discussion? None. Public discussion on the motion? Seeing none, let's go to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries 5-0. Guest, we have Dallas Lee with the financial update.
Thank you, Anna. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. So I've been on the job for 2 weeks as of today. I have presented a report in your backup material. I'm happy to either go through the report with you, or if you have any specific questions. Deanna and I have been hard at work. I would say that all of your staff that I've worked with has been beyond great, particularly Justin and Deanna and Tangi. Your staff is committed to doing the right thing and making things better, so I definitely want to give kudos to them. But it's up to you guys if you want me to go through the report, or if you have any specific questions, or how you want me to proceed, or if you want to ship me back to Amazon. I'll never forget, Commissioner Hope.
I think you could probably go, but for me, can you go through it and kind of highlight this kind of thing, like you do word for word, kind of highlight it?
Sure, absolutely. So I began working on the bank reconciliations. As the commission is aware, cash is king, so I wanted to make sure your reconciliations were up to date. That was it's a harder task than I anticipated. The bank reconciliations are in a variety of different states of array. Your general fund was last reconciled in October of 2023. Your water fund was last reconciled, I believe, in July of 2023. Best practice is that you reconcile your bank accounts ideally within 30 days, at most within 60 days. So I began reconciling the November bank account. There were a number of transactions that were made out of your bank account that were not recorded in either accounting system. There were transactions that were recorded in Edmunds and not recorded in QuickBooks, which was an interesting puzzle to put together. One thing I noted is that your Florida Blue, while being paid, wasn't posted into any accounting system since September of last year, September of 2023. There were multiple transfers from your water fund into your general fund with no supporting documentation. There were also several revenues and other transfers that were not recorded, and then a number of expenses that were paid that were not recorded. So we've got it down to one payment that has not been recorded. It was for the October credit card. We cannot find the statement for that credit card, and until I have the statement, I don't know where to post those expenses to. We're probably going to plug it and move on, just so we can move on to the next month, and hopefully we can get the credit card statement at some point. Deanna's been working to get the credit card statement. Unfortunately, it's all in your former city manager's name, and they have to mail a letter to the city and have it mailed back before Deanna can get access. In terms of grant management, we've been reviewing a number of grants the city currently has, including grants that I believe you are owed reimbursement for. So we are working with Kimley Horn to submit those reimbursements. Hopefully we can get those reimbursements and start making some payments. Also, I've been in contact with the county to see if we can amend the grant agreements with the county to allow advance payment of funds instead of paying them and then being reimbursed. My conversations with Gina indicate that that may be possible, but there may be some roadblocks on their end, but they're going to do everything they can to allow the city to get advance payment on those grants. In addition, there's about $170,000 in county grant that the city has not applied for yet. The city is eligible to apply for, and the county will most likely approve. Those do have to be spent on capital infrastructure that has a useful life of 5 years or more. Looking at what you guys have going on, wastewater seemed to be a good use of those funds, but it's ultimately up to the city commission. The county will be sending you an invoice for $116,000 for paving of a road in the city. Half of that is going to be paid for by the county's grant. The other half will need to be paid by the city with your infrastructure sales surtaxes. Currently, or you did owe $872,000 in a line of credit from Ameris Bank that has a decently high interest rate for municipal lending. We did get a $372,000 payment from the state and used $200,000 of that to pay down the loan. The remaining $170,000 also needs to be paid towards that loan. However, we felt that paying $200,000 would give the city buffer in its cash to make some other payments while still paying down that principal to reduce your interest expenses, because you are paying about $4,300 a month in just interest on that.
Dallas,
Yes, ma'am.
can I just ask a quick question? I'm using Deanna's mic. Under the grant management, next to the bottom sentence, developing SEFA, what is that?
That's the CFA-SESA. It's a schedule of expenditures and financial assistance.
Okay.
The CFA part is federal assistance. The SESA part is state assistance. It's essentially a spreadsheet that shows here's all your grants you have, here's everything you've spent, here's everything you've received, here's everything you should be owed. I provided Deanna a copy of the one Newberry uses as a tracking tool because you guys do have a lot of grant activity going on and it is complicated to keep track of. Your auditors should have been preparing this for you in years past, but obviously they prepare it in arrears, so keeping one up to date throughout the year can help you with your grant management. Yes, ma'am. In payroll and FRS reporting, I did file your FRS report for you for October 24. I did identify some discrepancies in terms of what the city is withholding for employers and employer contributions, including a payroll the city made that did not deduct FRS for any employees. And then I assisted Justin with payroll last week. I've been helping offer some ideas on how to organize your accounting records, creating systems to keep all your bank reconciliation things orderly, as well as organizing your accounts payable and your invoices payable. And then in terms of miscellaneous items, I've been working with Deanna on a number of things. One of the biggest ones is we found that the city's been paying property taxes for a number of years on a piece of property the city owns, so we're working on getting that exempted and hopefully a reimbursement from the tax collector for those dollars. Yes, ma'am.
Can you go back and repeat that? You said that, I got a loud mouth now. I wanted you to go back. So you said you've been training Justin, okay, to repeat that just for me.
Yes, ma'am. I've just been showing Deanna and Justin some organizational methods that we use to keep track of all of the monthly ins and outs of the banks, the accounts payable, accounts receivable, deposits, just to keep things more streamlined and organized so you can find things more easily than the current organization system.
Okay, I want you to go back with the property tax thing and explain that to us.
Yes, Commissioner. We found a bill from the tax collector, a trim notice, that shows that the city has been being assessed property taxes as well as the fire assessment from the county and the solid waste assessment. So we filed a report with the property appraiser to exempt the city from those taxes because the city is exempt from paying those. Upon further research, it was found that the city's been paying that property tax bill for at least 10 years. So we're working on the exemption part of it. Once we get the exemption approved, we're going to work with the tax collector to see if we can get some portion of those taxes reimbursed to the city. It's about $400 a year you've been paying. Correct. I mean, a small portion of it is coming back to you in your property taxes. So some of the next steps, I'll be honest with you guys, you essentially don't have accounting records for the last year. It is in a state of chaos, so we're rebuilding those accounting records. One of the things that you should be doing tonight is adopting your final budget amendments. The state law gives you 60 days to adopt final budget amendments. Deanna and I spoke about this because we don't know what your budget looks like and the expenses that have been posted. There was not a reason for us to bring forward a budget amendment, so you can assume you'll have a finding in your financial audit that we're not in compliance with your budget. One recommendation I do have is you currently have a vacancy in your city manager position. I would recommend holding those salaries in a holding account to build up a down payment to the IRS. Your previous city manager was getting paid about $4,000 of payroll with all of his benefits and everything. So if every 2 weeks you take that money and put it aside, you might be able to build up a little bit of a reserve for when the IRS comes asking for their money. You have some sort of a down payment to make. I would recommend that the city apply for the remaining grant funds from Alachua County. Like I said, you have about $170,000 at least available that you can apply for infrastructure projects. Deanna has been working with Kimley Horn to develop a payment plan for the invoices you owe to Kimley Horn. And then I will move into some of my issues and recommendations. This is not a complete comprehensive list. As I mentioned, I've only been here for 2 weeks, but I just try to put some of the biggest items on this report for you. So as mentioned, your bank reconciliations are not being done in a timely manner. Cash is king. So if your bank reconciliations had been being done in a timely manner, it would ensure that your expenses and revenues were being posted correctly. I did not find in the reconciliations that were done any approval by management. So best practice is that whoever does the bank reconciliations has somebody else sign off on those reconciliations saying that they are appropriate and were done appropriately. Speaking of lack of supporting documentation and approvals, there is no support for many of your invoices and expenses that are posted into your accounting system and paid. For those that do have support, there's no approvals. So there's no documentation that a member of management or somebody with purchasing authority approved those purchases to be made. Additionally, like I said, there are many payments that just have no support. So I'm unsure as to what those payments were for. Obviously, it's really important in the government that everything be approved and authorized and a public purpose be documented on your invoices and available for audit and public review. I did include in the packet a copy of the way Newberry used to do it, just so you can see the way we documented with department head signatures and accounts payable postings and stamps and GLs and receipts and all those good things.
Yeah. You knew it. Will you please explain to them the pay card that you were talking about instead of a credit card?
Yes, ma'am. So the state of Florida has a contract with Bank of America for a purchasing card. It, for all intents and purposes, works the same as a credit card. However, it has a software system package that comes with it that the city can use to pre-authorize purchases. So the credit card does not allow purchases until they've been authorized by an appropriate user. It allows you to turn the credit cards on and off. Allows you to ban certain sorts of purchases. So like on our credit cards, for example, entertainment is banned. You can't purchase an entertainment item with the purchasing cards. They also give you a up-to-date accounting of your credit cards, and they require you to go in and post your transactions and sign off on them and post your receipts. And that's through Bank of America. It's called Works, and it is free for the city to use.
And it also, if they come in and say, tell Deanna they need to be pre-approved for a purchase, she can put that amount on the card only, right?
Correct. Correct. Yeah, and you can set up thresholds too. You know, they can buy up to $500, but if it's over 500, they have to get approval and all sorts of approval thresholds there. As I mentioned, budget compliance. The City Commission adopts the legal budget for the city. It does not appear that the city was in compliance with its budget. In addition, management transferred nearly $300,000 from your water fund to your general fund. I did not see that as a budgeted item in your budget. Commission must authorize transfers between funds. And I did not see any proper documentation of those transfers. One of the things the commission is going to need to decide in regards to those transfers is if that transfer is going to be recorded in your financial statements as a transfer with no intent for the general fund to ever pay that money back, or if it's going to be recorded as a loan with the intent that the general fund is going to pay it back. You don't need to make that decision now, but it is going to be a decision the city commission is going to have to make as to whether or not the general fund is going to pay that money or a portion of that money back to the water fund. I will tell you, you don't currently have the money to pay the water fund back, but you, as the commission, can set the terms of that repayment. Grant reimbursements, as I mentioned, the city has a lot of grant activity going on. It is very hard to track all the grants that the city's going on. It does not seem like there was a sufficient tracking mechanism to keep track of the grant expenditures and the revenues coming in and what the city's owed. That is something we're working on now to ensure that you do have all of your reimbursements so we can file for reimbursements from the state. Payroll and FRS. There was at least one instance where retirement payments were not deducted or accounted for, which is going to cause an underpayment to FRS. It was a special payroll that occurred in October. There's at least one employee who is not receiving FRS, although they are statutorily eligible for FRS, and the statute does say all eligible employees must be enrolled in FRS. It's my understanding that the city currently pays the 3% employee portion of the FRS. It's my belief and understanding of the law that the city cannot pay the employee's portion of FRS. Additionally, it does not appear that FRS or insurance payments are being appropriately tied to your employees. Therefore, it's causing issues with your employees' W-2s, mostly because FRS is a tax shelter benefit, so are some of your health insurance benefits. It was also noted that on at least one occasion, payroll payments were made that did not agree to the amounts that were recorded in the accounting system. It was not a material amount, but it is odd. Additionally, your payroll cycle runs Thursday through Wednesday, and you are paid the very next day. I would recommend that you change your payroll cycles to align with a week. Instead of going Thursday to Wednesday, go Monday to Sunday or Sunday to Saturday. Having the existing pay week cross a week, I know causes confusion with your staff about overtime. And then having the payday be the immediate next day after the pay period puts an undue burden on your payroll person, especially if they're sick or, in this example, your pay period ends Wednesday and Thursday is a holiday. So you're having to pay Wednesday, which is still inside of the pay period. So I have talked to Deanna about a method I think we can use to adjust that while still not putting a burden on the employees, so still paying them timely while we adjust those pay periods. All right. And then one thing that did occur that we found out after I had written this report is, as you are aware, the city receives wild spaces and infrastructure sales surtax from the state every month. And every quarter, the city is required to submit a report to the county showing how much cash on hand you have in wild spaces and in infrastructure and what you've spent those dollars on. Based off of the reports I have seen, as of June 30th, you reported having more cash on hand for wild spaces than you actually had in your bank account in total. You reported about $142,000 cash on hand, and you only had about $2,000 of wild spaces money.
I gotta go
go back just a little bit. I'm sorry. Sometimes it takes me a little while to catch up. But going back just a little bit, where you said it's also been noted that employee benefit deductions such as their life, dental, and et cetera, may not have been, I guess, properly deducted from their paychecks. Is there any way to have told that that was being paid? Was that being paid by the city? Did you see something in there like that, that maybe the city was paying or it just wasn't being paid?
It's my understanding that the city pays a 100% of health insurance benefits. So the city has been paying all of the benefits. I have not been able to verify whether employee supplemental insurance, the insurance that they are paying for, has been properly deducted from employee paychecks. So my answer is I don't know.
Yeah, he says, what you're saying there may not be being properly deducted. I'm trying to understand what you mean about that.
I haven't been able to verify if it is properly deducted or not. I can see that the city's been paying for them, and the months I have looked at, I do not see the deductions on employee paychecks, but that does not mean it didn't happen in a month I haven't checked yet. So there may have been a true up where the city deducted a couple of months from the check, but I just haven't been able to do that much work yet.
Is that the case with the FRS retirement as well? Or you don't think?
From what I have seen on FRS retirement, the payrolls were being properly deducted except for the one payroll where FRS was not deducted. But again, that's only November. I haven't made it past November.
Commission also?
Yes, that does include the commission. That concludes my report unless there are other questions. And I have notified the county about the discrepancy in your wild spaces infrastructure reports.
I just want to thank you, Dallas. I have sang your praises, and I know I was the one that was the firmest to get it. But I do appreciate all you've done, and I have told everybody.
Of course. Thank you.
You're well worth every penny.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again. All right, we're going to move to public comment. Please come forward, state your name. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Bill Lewandowski, and I wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. So I recommend you pass a resolution pass a financial resolution with the following minimum requirements. Creation of an interim operations budget based on reasonable assumptions of projected revenues, expenditures, and penalties while you're working on the final budget amendment. You don't know what you don't know. I don't see how you can possibly move forward and start making decisions on any type of expenditures until you have some sort of an operational budget. So you have a roadmap for going forward. I think you need to adapt the financial controls recommended by Mr. Lee. I think he's made some very good recommendations in that regard. I recommend that there's no new spending for any amount unless it's approved by the City Commission sitting as a body, the only exception being a true emergency. I recommend that there's no travel at the public's expense by any commissioner unless it is pre-approved by the City Commission. The only exceptions will be meetings with county officials to attend county meetings or to meet with state officials for matters related to the current financial emergency. I recommend there be no travel for city employees outside the city unless it's approved by the city manager specifically. I recommend there's no overtime for city employees unless it's for a true emergency. I recommend that city expenditures will be reviewed at each city commission meeting for the previous period, not part of the consent agenda. I think you guys need to look at every single one based upon what's happening right now. I also recommend that city commissioners suspend their pay until such time as they complete a budget amendment approved by the state. One question is, what is the status of the city's request for support from the county? I know the letters were sent, and I'd like to know what the results are. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Do you want to?
I haven't heard anything from the governor or the JLAC or the county.
Do you want it? I guess you do.
Madam Mayor, we are, one of the things that we've been working on is trying to evaluate exactly what we need the county to help us with. So we know that we need assistance with accounting, we know that we need assistance with planning, we know that we have general areas of need. What we're trying to work between Deanna, Dallas, and myself is what exactly do we need from them, because the worst possible thing is to just throw a bunch of resources into the mix if we can't identify what we need. So we are working on that right now. Dallas has identified a couple of areas where we can receive county assistance. The county has already indicated that they will want us to come before them, at least in February, potentially before that. If we can do that, to sort of maybe have a round robin and see if we can get to the heart of these issues. But we are working on that. One of the things that you'll see at your next meeting, sort of in that vein, is when we declared a state of financial emergency. That's what I'm going to call it very, very colloquially. That is not a legal term. But when we sent that letter, we want to make sure that we have the ability, in accordance therewith. To Mr. Lewandowski's point, there are going to be several things that we will be working with the county on, and we want to make sure that you have your purchasing policy restrictions. So everything would come before you all, of course, but we're going to want to make sure that we don't have to bid out everything that we need from the county, bid out everything that we need from our sister municipalities or anyone who wants to come and assist us. So you will be seeing a resolution that sort of gives you that additional control regarding the contracts, but additional sort of flexibility regarding spending limits and that kind of thing, because we have this state of financial emergency. So that's how we're working with the county. We'll have additional details for you at the next meeting, but we've got a lot of irons and a lot of fires. Happy to answer any questions.
Lori. Oh. I didn't even notice it wasn't there. Thank you. Okay.
Lori Costello, citizen. I want to thank Deanna. Last week I had emailed her about some stuff, requests for Public Works to do, and they've already started doing them. So thank you. It's so nice because the manager never did that. So thanks. I will say that the truck picking up the debris around Archer is having a hard time getting through our roads. We need to do major trimming. We've been needing to do major trimming for years, and so, you know, that's something. Falls here, not much mowing being done, so anyhow, something for y'all to think about on top of everything else. Madam Mayor, at the last meeting, I asked for your reports from your travel that you did around the state and beyond that our tax dollars paid for. And to date, I have not received anything from you. I even listened to some of the meetings after your travel and didn't hear any reports that you might have given. So just a reminder, I'm still waiting on that to receive from you. Wanted to know where we were advertising the bookkeeper at. Somebody said the post office. I don't know whether you want to do this, but I don't know whether we can do it on Facebook. Facebook seems to do a wide area, but like I says, I don't know. That's just an idea. With everything that has happened, I would like to see this commission, when people come up here with problems, I would like to see this commission discuss their problems instead of, thank you, you sit down, you never hear anything again, your time's up, you don't even get to finish what you're saying. I think it's about time. We're a small town, and I think it's about time we need to listen to our citizens and hear them out and discuss their concerns within this body when they bring them forward, not just thank you and they go sit down and then nothing's discussed, nothing, there's no questions being asked, there's nothing. I think we deserve a little bit more than what we're getting. The grader, I know that we spent, I think, about $45,000, and if it goes up as surplus property, we're not going to be able to get that money back. I think if we're planning to keep the city, we need to keep it to grade the roads. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, good evening. I just want to compliment the commission. Many times, people come before you and they don't understand what you have to deal with. They don't understand what the state law requires and what it tells you can and cannot do, and it is tough. But tonight, as I sit and I listen, I believe that you guys are moving in the right direction. You got a great guy there that knows this stuff. He's knowledgeable, and he's going to be able to take this city to another level with not only his knowledge and his wisdom, but with growth. Because now it's time to do some things different. The world is changing, and we got to change with it. We got to do things in a different way, and I see that the commission is doing that. Mayor, I see that you're doing that, and that's what we need. I think it's time for us to not only lift up the community like you're already doing, but we have to come together and understand that it's time for change. But this is part of change. Sometimes we get stuck in our ways, and we don't like to see things different, and we want it the same. Well, Archer, I'm pleased to say tonight, just listening, this is change. This is change, knowing what's going on, putting you on the right steps, telling you what you can and can't do. And understand something. As a commission, you have to have each other's back. I don't care what happens. If hell and hot water fall out this roof, I got your back. This is the attorney. If she tells me not to do this, or Mr. Kane, don't say this, or it's a liability to the city, listen to it, because it will save your behind. As city commissioners, it's important that you take the wisdom from not only the people with the finances, but the lawyer that God has placed here for you. Because I'm going to tell you something. If you don't, it can be tragedy for the city. When you say things from the Badias that are not true, or anything like that, it's called liability. And we don't want liability, we want growth in Archer. We want people to understand that Archer's moving in a new path. That we're not the old commission, we are a new commission, waiting, willing to fight for our community. And listen, the county is ready to help you. They're ready to help you. But sometimes you got to be careful with the state. Say little words and they get all happy, and sometimes they don't always work for you. So we have to be real careful with who we go to and how we go to them and what we ask for. So let's go to our state. Let's lean on the county more. Let's get with our county commissioners and just put it out there. And I think 2025 will be a successful, strong year for Archer and a year of growth and stability. So thank you for your time, and great job, commissioners. And bro, you smart. You know your stuff, and every bit of you. I don't know what you're getting paid, but you need a raise. All right. Good job, buddy. Thank you. Hey, I know. Thank you, buddy. Good job.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to ask for a raise, please. No.
Mr. Kane, did you state your name? I don't remember. I thought you did, but, okay.
My name is Dijon Kane. I'm an activist in Gainesville and Alachua County. I've been around for a long time, and I've really been paying attention to what's going on in Archer, because I just think it's time to go to another level. And you guys are definitely, I mean that, you're moving in the right direction. With this wisdom, we're going to get there. Thank you.
Okay. If that is all for the public comment, we're going to move on. Yes, ma'am.
Rhonda Robertson. I'm a resident of Archer. I would like to know why it takes so long for my water bill to be cleared through my bank. We're in financial distress, and my check goes weeks without clearing my bank. And I know it's been received here. I hand deliver it every month. So I don't know who's responsible for that, but if it's mine, then I know it's more. Okay? All right, thank you.
Yeah, Ms. Robertson, the last 2 weeks, yes, we were behind, but they all got scanned through last Thursday, so I apologize for that. We will do better.
Okay, it's not just recent.
Right.
This has been going on for long.
Right, so we're trying to fix that, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
There you go. Come bring the cat.
I agree with what she says. That's why I stopped writing checks for my water bill. Probably about a couple of years ago. Because I don't like the fact that it don't go through in a timely manner. Yeah. Right.
All right, so we're gonna move on to new business.
Before we do.
Dallas, I need you just a minute.
You get ready to leave.
I know you've got another,
Newberry meeting to run to.
I know.
Oh, I forgot
I've
about
got
that.
Deanna's. Deanna had asked you about the FRS and commissioners donating their salaries. If we don't get a check, if we say we're gonna donate our checks each month, we have no FRS and no taxes taken. It's just $500 is back to the city.
Madam Mayor, if the entire commission decides that the commission no longer gets paid, then that money would be freed up into your budget. However, if one singular or even four of you decide you want to donate it, that is still wages payable to the commissioner, so the city would still be required to deduct FRS and taxes.
Okay.
So the commission could a commissioner could absolutely donate their net pay back to the city. Well, we've had that happen in Newberry before. But for the entire $500 to go back, the entire commission would have to vote to no longer receive a paycheck.
Okay. And
I
that's
believe
what
your pay is set by resolution, so you have to adopt a resolution.
That's what I wanted to get across. Thank you, Dallas. I think I got it now.
Y'all have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
Because Mr. Lewandowski had brought up us relinquishing our pay. In doing that, we also relinquish our FRS. And that's the only reason I'm here. This 4 years is to get those 20 years in. I'm kidding, it's not the only reason, but it's a big reason. I wanted those 20 years. So, we can donate it back?
Yes.
The net, yeah.
Yes.
That's my
correct.
understanding.
The net you can donate back.
Okay, so,
I did that for 3 years.
I know,
in the
well,
past.
yeah.
I did that in my old school tenure, but it was the net back, so that I'd get record of it, so.
Yes.
Versus just relinquishing the whole gross amount.
I will tell you, when we closed out the Perkins accounts, that was still there. It was $2,000-something. It was still there.
I can't
The-
remember what project it was to go for. Recreation. I think
Recreation.
it was a recreation program. so.
I'm assuming then, if we said we'll split it, $250, FRS and we just split our pay, FRS and taxes would come out of it.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
And
So-
each commissioner can do what they want if it's the net,
yeah.
if I understand correctly what you said.
That's correct. With your net, you can each individually do whatever you want, just like a
Got it.
regular paycheck.
Okay, I'm good. Thank you, ma'am. I just wanted that clear.
New business? Move on? All right, new business, agenda item 1, grant funding agreement between Alachua County and the City of Archer. Our Archer, number 14514, Holly Hills Community Center.
This is more of a formality than anything. Gina Peebles had asked that we just change some of the language and add more specifics, more specificity, I can never say the word right, into the agreement. So you guys have already approved these, but we're asking, she wanted them reapproved with the different language in here. So the community center was just to add the square footage. I'm trying to know what else we had to add. I think the location, the exact address, and the third thing, if I would page it's on. It's on page 4, so it's just paragraph 3, where it says, about the 6th line down where it talks about the Holly Hills Community Center. Like I said, I had to put the square feet in there, the address, and then when we anticipate it being started and completed. So that's the change that was in that agreement that you guys have signed before.
Paid for.
Yes, ma'am, of the agreement.
And paragraph 3?
Paragraph 3, yes, ma'am.
Just lines down.
Yeah.
Mayor,
Yes.
Deanna, I thought at last month's meeting, we agreed not to do the community center. That we would owe 25,000, I think approximate, 25,000.
Did we vote on it, or did we?
It was tabled.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, my recommendation was to discontinue the project, but then Dallas had asked for us to table it, and we looked into it, and we would still like a little bit more time if possible. We're trying to not cancel the project. We might still have to ask for you guys to discontinue it, but we're really trying hard to think outside the box, a way to make the project work, because we all believe in it, but I'm not sure financially we can do it right now.
Okay.
So that's why I wanted to still move forward with this, though, because it would be a piece to help us out with the funding.
Madam Mayor, the other thing to keep in mind is that the reason that we're sort of taking our time with this is that it's not as easy as, okay, we just won't do it so we don't owe any money. It's, if we don't do it, we owe money. If we do it, we owe money. So we're trying to figure out a way to owe the least amount of money for the most amount of results. So we are still working on that. The county is working with us, and they're being very generous. So we're trying to keep that ball rolling.
That's my concern, Kirsten, is we keep adding money to it, we're gonna owe more money, so.
Yes, so we are definitely in a situation right now where we're trying to, part of the reason that we owe money, or would owe money if we don't move forward, is because we've already received grant funding for this. And so if we don't finish the project, then we have to repay the grant funding, but there's grant funding that's still available for us. If we get to completion, then we do not need to pay that money back. So it's just an analysis of sort of where our individual outside of grant funding responsibility is going to be, and we just don't have that number yet.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So you're asking us to approve the grant funding?
Yes, with the county. Yes, ma'am. And if for any reason the project, let's say, doesn't move forward, if I understood from Gina Peebles correctly, we could then resubmit another request to have it maybe allocated to a different project. So I guess Kirsten was saying they're very generous and being really lenient with some things with us right now.
Okay.
Then I will make a motion to approve the,
Can you use her mic, please.
I will make a motion to approve the grant funding agreement between Alachua County and the City of Archer.
I second. Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner White and a second by Commissioner Green. Any commissioner discussion? All right, seeing non-public discussion on the motion.
Bill Lewandowski, I was just glancing through it. Is there a drop dead date on when this has to be, do you have to pull the trigger? Because that doesn't require construction by June 5th? I'm sorry, January 5th?
No, that's just when we anticipate, if we do get started, that's when we anticipate we could start. And then June 30th date is when the grant deadline is. Is that what
Okay.
you're asking?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
That's the final extension, okay.
Yes.
So again, I also want to reiterate my point in that until you get at least an interim operating budget, it's going to be really hard for you guys to try to figure out which way to go with something like this, because you just don't know. And the other thing I would like you to consider as you go through this process, and I know it's complex, is also think about the operation and maintenance budget for this thing once we move forward. Because if we can't afford it now, I don't see how we're going to afford it in the future in terms of the O&M budget. So please consider that. Thank you.
Lori Costello, the grant money that we received for this, do we still have it or did we spend it?
It's a reimbursable grant, so we haven't submitted for reimbursement yet.
So we really haven't received it yet, right?
Correct.
I thought, okay.
No, we've received no grant funding.
The architect, the drawing,
Yeah.
and things like that, that was expense. We just
Right.
had reimbursement.
All right, thank you.
But the county has said too that this grant, if we don't use it for this, could be.
Yes.
I'm not saying will be, but, so, yeah, so we,
All right, we're gonna go to a vote unless the commissioners have something else.
I would just like to make one, I would just like to make one comment. As you all know, I'm very in favor of of this community center. I just believe it'll be a great asset to the city of Archer, and I just think that it would, draw a lot more families to the city of Archer, and I think that we would grow some that way. But I keep hearing different ones bringing up the situation as, well, how are we going to maintain it? How are we going to do this? We don't have the funds. Well, how are we going to maintain the sewer system? If something breaks, that's going to be a whole lot more. I don't use other words, but if I did, I would. That's going to be a whole lot more than what this building, maintenance on this building will cost. They're already running like 3, they got the master station in Holly Hills, 2 other stations in Holly Hills that using properties that could have been sold for homes. If that stuff breaks, can you imagine how Holly Hills gonna smell? I know it's supposed to stay on the motion, thank you. But I want to make that point because I keep hearing, as far as letting this grant go, how we're going to maintain it, how we're going to do this, how we're going to do that. How you going to maintain the sewer system? Thank you.
Could I just add to that, please?
No, ma'am. Thank you. Sorry, because she was not on the motion, and we need to stay on the motion. But yes, you can come back during public comment time. Thank you. Are there any comments from the dais about the motion or on the motion? No. Then let's move on to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 2 says is grant funding agreement between Alachua County and the City of Archer, number 14517, road resurfacing of Southwest 143rd Avenue.
Yes, Mayor Bailey. So this, again, you guys had approved back when, but the county wanted more specifics. So as we all know, they did Park Street, 143rd Avenue, and as far as I've heard and seen, everyone's been very pleased with that work. So this is just amending the original down from 160, I think, to 120,000 to cover the road work on that road. And then as Dallas stated, we still have 170 we can request for possibly some other roads, or we can also request the 170 to use towards wastewater if we choose to do so. But this just is only for 143rd Avenue, and I realize it's already been done. But
So it looks like the title or both are the same as it's,
yes, they
Okay.
are, yes. I think that's the number they assigned to us, I believe. The county
Okay.
assigns to the city.
okay. So do we have a motion?
So moved, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Hope and a second by Commissioner White. Any additional comments by the commission? Public comments? All right, seeing none, let's go to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries 5-0. Got that. Agenda item 3 is memorandum of agreement for cost share assistance, Suwannee River Water Management District.
Madam Mayor, so I got an email from Suwannee River asking me to sign the agreement. So I did email Felicity of Hello Kimley Horn and asked her if there was another grant to cover the 55,000 match. And she said we did apply for one, but we did not make the list for that. So currently this, if we move forward with this, we would be responsible for half the grant match. And I know I put that, I recommend we not move forward, but Dallas came a little bit earlier tonight, and it's another project that I really feel strong about, but then about moving forward with, because I know the Army Corps of Engineers done all the engineering piece of it. And that's just to expand the Holly Hills stormwater, because that's like one of the worst places that floods. So I believe with the little conversation me and Dallas had is I think we can make the 55,930 work, either using part of the agreement that you guys just approved, the other 170 that's available to cover that, or we may be able to find the funds, because I really feel we should move forward with this, just seeing how much it floods down in the Holly Hills. But I didn't want to sign this without the commission's approval or non-approval, whichever you prefer. But that's why I changed my mind, just again, because it'll be the second project in that area that we're gonna possibly not be able to move forward with.
Okay, and I don't see it in the folder. It was not in that folder. So,
It has my signature on it, but I wasn't comfortable signing it with, because I didn't even know this was out there until I received an email. So I'm just bringing everything to your attention that involves money.
okay, okay. Well, and tell me, was there a grant for it, did you say?
There was, to cover the match, the Kimley Horn applied for it, but we didn't get selected. So no, we would have to pay the 55,930, but we can use another grant to match it. And that's when Dallas was recommending either the 170, part of the 170, or we could do our best to try to, budget for when this ends to be able to pay for the match.
And when does it end?
I don't remember the date.
Deanna,
Yes.
if I'm understanding while you're looking, if I'm understanding correctly, part of our problem, a big part of our problem, besides the IRS, is grants, and matching grants especially.
Yes.
And we're just digging in deeper to do, I'm just saying this needs to hold. Until we get our money in order, this needs to hold. I appreciate very much what Dallas is doing, what you're doing. But until we know we've got the money that we can match it, I'm not willing to do it.
I don't see a date in here when it's due unless someone else seen it. So I'd have to ask. That's why I said that's why in the original I had said not to afford, just because of what Commissioner White just said, because we do have several matching grants out there at the moment.
Commissioners, there's not a date that's in there because it's dependent upon the completion date of the project. So upon completion, upon the incurring of these fees is when they would become due.
This is a matching grant,
Right, right.
$56,000 from us, which is bill owed to the IRS.
That's more than that. I mean,
It's a pay,
it's not even a payment.
it's part of the interest and penalty fee of the total of the 178,000 plus, so. And the question and again, stupid question, smart answer. The cooperator is the city of Archer?
Yes.
The manager would be our engineering firm to contract all of the,
You meant Kimley Horn?
yeah, Kimley Horn.
I believe Kimley Horn did the grant, but I believe, I'll have to ask Felicity, because I understood the Army Corps of Engineering did the engineering for this, but I could be misunderstanding, because the first time I was on a call with the Army Corps of Engineers, they had several locations, not just Holly Hills. So I don't know if this is what they're targeting first. I wasn't aware, like I said, of any of this happening.
Right.
I got the
I
email
mean,
to
yeah,
sign the
you've been
contract.
inundated with all this, yeah.
Right.
And there lies my other question, is this specific, it looks like it is, to just the Holly Hills corrective action
Yes.
part of the plan?
Yes.
Because the Corps of Engineer folks were here for a month or two, identifying targeted areas, but sought this one first, so.
I believe this one came up a few years ago, and Kimley Horn was the one that researched it and did all the work.
Because
on it.
we were, looking
Yeah.
at stormwater control
Exactly, and-
initiatives in the city of Archer, because we have no stormwater.
And I don't think, I may be wrong, but I don't believe the Corps of Engineers played a part in this one.
Well, they might not.
I know they did the housing development.
Archer Village.
Archer Woods.
I don't know, because I thought the last time Felicity was here, she talked about them doing Archer Woods and Holly Hills, and I do think it was a third place, but I can't remember.
But
Maybe.
it's three separate issues.
Yes.
Right.
That, yeah, and, yeah, right now, we couldn't afford, right now, I don't see us affording a matching grant for $1, so, I'm just not willing to put us in that shape.
Deanna, I don't believe that this would expire prior to our next meeting. I don't think that we lose our shot if we take a time out. We can bring you a little bit more information at the next meeting. We can keep doing that, obviously, until we don't have this opportunity anymore. So you all can constantly sort of be reviewing if you'd like.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to table this until we get at least Felicity here to give us the specifics on those 3 targeted projects. Because we have committed to addressing Archer Woods from citizen. I know we had a citizen saying we don't listen and we don't act on their request, but we certainly have listened and acted on Archer Woods with the planning fortitude to look at matching grants, and I think this is part of that. So to say Holly Hills over Archer Woods, I'd like Felicity here to give us an update. So my motion is to table this until we can get Kimley Horn representative here to give us some details next meeting, if possible.
I second.
thank you. So we have a motion by Commissioner Hope and a second by Vice Mayor. Any other commissioner discussion?
Yes, ma'am. Deanna, how much is Kimley Horn charging us every time they show up at a meeting, do you know?
But when they show up for a meeting, I think they've stopped that, but
Okay.
we do owe them a substantial dollar amount at this time.
That's what I'm saying. Do y'all know how much we owe Kimley Horn?
I know I've seen it. I don't remember off the
Well,
top.
take a guess.
A lot.
Oh, yes, sir. How about $386,000? I don't know how that got to be that high. That just blows my mind that we owe them that. And if we're paying for them to come to meetings, I don't need them to come.
No, I mean, all the invoices we have, I don't see anything about a meeting, not to say it's not built in there, but if Kirsten has
I don't believe that they charge to attend the meetings. What I will say is I will make sure that that is the case. If that is the case, we'll just get a verbal update and we will provide that to you all.
I was correct on 386.
Thank you.
yes, it might actually be higher.
Yeah.
All right. Was that it? Public discussion on the motion?
You're not charging extra for that service, are you? Okay, good, yeah. There you go, okay. I just want to make clarity, the motion was to table?
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay, so I strongly agree with that. I think you have no choice. I also went back and looked at my minutes, my notes from 3 weeks ago, and the report that was given was that the Corps of Engineers was doing that stormwater study for within the corporate limits, so the whole enchilada. So it really makes sense to hold off on that, plus, of course, because the financial issues, you don't really know what you don't know. Thank you.
All right, let's go to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries 5-0.
Madam Mayor, before you go to public comment, Dallas made a recommendation, advised us that we needed to adopt a final budget amendment tonight. Adopt a final budget amendment tonight. Can we do that without it being advertised?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me, I'll clarify, Madam Mayor. What Dallas was trying to articulate is that tonight would really be the deadline for you all to adopt a budget amendment 60 days out from the closing of the last fiscal year. Unfortunately, we do not have numbers and figures to do a budget amendment tonight, even if we had noticed it, even if we had done all the things that we were supposed to do. So what Dallas was indicating to you is that you'll see that as a finding, that we will adopt a budget amendment as soon as humanly possible, but that is not tonight.
Okay, I understood him to say tonight we needed to. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, public comment period. You have 3 minutes. Please state your name.
Lori Costello, citizen. I just want to piggyback on what you said about the sewer system. The sewer system is going to be the beginning. My perspective is that the sewer system is going to be the beginning of the end of Archer. You're correct. We cannot afford it. The engineer for years gave us incorrect numbers. I have been before this commission many times stating that same thing. Please call me, I can show you. Not one commissioner bothered calling me so I could show them. So, you're right. We're not going to be able to afford it. Even if this didn't happen, we couldn't afford it. Y'all are going to have to impose a sewer tax that's going to be very expensive. Whether you have sewer or not, you're going to have to pay for it. So that's reality. Are y'all going to discuss all the wonderful points and suggestions that Mr. Lewandowski brought forth this commission? Are y'all going to discuss that tonight, or is that going to be ignored? Madam Mayor? What? Oh. Oh, okay, because of the mic. Gotcha.
No, it's not a cross-examination period.
Well, I asked a question.
It's a comment period.
Any questions can be answered after the 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. Also, I'd like to get feedback on the grader. Your thoughts on the grader. So, also, I'd just like to make a comment on the community center. My question is, I was underneath the impression that it's going to be open to the public, people can go play basketball anytime they want, and then I heard that, no, people's going to have to pay to use it. So I need to know from each commissioner what, because you guys don't discuss these things. Is the public going to have to pay to use it? Or is it going to be open all day for the citizens to come and use and play basketball anytime they want? Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Bill Lewandowski. If you completely ignore everything I say, please do one thing. Please direct Deanna and Mr. Lee to come up with an interim operation budget. You absolutely have to have that. You can make all types of assumptions, based upon what you think the penalties may be. You can take that thing and you can adapt it and you can change it as you get more information. But I don't see how you can possibly make any financial decisions until you have a rough idea of what you're looking at. I mean, I just don't see how you can reasonably do that. So if you ignore everything else I say, please, please, please do that. Thank you.
Oh, I turned you off. On that line, Kirsten, if we got to have a budget.
Sure do.
And
we do
amendment.
have a budget.
We have to have a budget amendment, which is basically, we're going to have to look at all this to do that.
So the budget amendment is taking your previous budget, saying where you all have altered and changed in the fiscal year that was for, and then providing that update. That's what the budget amendment is. So it's not with your new budget. It's got nothing to do with your new budget.
So what we need is a new budget.
You have a budget currently,
No,
which
I'm talking about a new budget.
I don't disagree with you.
Okay, so that's what we need. Okay, I understand. So we do need to ask Deanna and Dallas to work on a plan, what we have that we can utilize, what we owe and what we have.
Yeah, what I would say is I can't speak for Mr. Lee. Dallas is an expert in all kinds of things, and I'm positive that if we were to ask him, is a interim operational budget even something that you have enough information to tell us regarding how much we have, how much we owe, all of those things. I think what tonight proves to you and what the last several meetings show you is that we're still sort of figuring out what we have and what we owe. So I don't know that he can promise you an operational budget, but he may be able to. I just don't know that information. But you're certainly within your ability to ask him to put together something like that to just give you a sense if something like that's possible. And then obviously give him the freedom to sort of give you feedback on what's feasible and what's not feasible based on the information. I don't know, Deanna, if you have anything to add to that.
No, I agree. Now, I don't know if it's going to put him over his 15-hour allotted monthly time.
In his presentation tonight, and again, Deanna, you know how many notes you're taking as he discovers things like in reserve, continue the previous manager's salary as a chart of account line item. There's an amended budget. We know what it's gonna go towards, part of the repayment plan to the IRS with penalties and interest. Everything, and again, my interpretation, but everything that Mr. Lee is finding that's discoverable probably will be a new chart of accounts in the amended budget, all of which will be, even if it's a separate, not revenue account, but a separate account that we know we're going to apply to our payment plan with the IRS. I mean, that's my perspective on something. Ms. Costello asked about the grader. Keep the grader instead of putting it as on .gov for surplus and getting a monetary amount back. If we sold that, it would go towards that payment plan. If we sell, again, here I go with the surplus properties identified that are some 7.5 years to 2 years old, to decide on that, those are, again, questionable. Where's that surplus going? We know it should go into that reserve account that's going to be towards our largest debt, which is right now the IRS penalties and interest. And if I need to make a motion to that effect, if that could be worked on as you all identify things as a team, could we do that and him put that in another scope of service of the things he's identified that you agree upon, Deanna? And then we're prepared, and we've done our homework. If we had to have a workshop for creating what Mr. Lewandowski is concerned about, the amended budget, then so be it. But with that master plan, if you will, on what all of those discoverables and where they're going to go is to the biggest debt service. Again, I'm repeating myself, but it's going to be the IRS.
Would it help, Madam Mayor, I'm sorry, would it help if we asked Dallas to give us about how long it would take him? I mean, even if we had to come up with I'm going to say profit and loss. I know that's not what it is, but I want to know what we've got, what we owe, and how to move forward.
Assets and liabilities. Absolutely, I think that that's more than feasible for us to ask him how long he thinks it would take. And we can ask him a couple of these different things that have been thrown out as far as, assets and liabilities chart, what would an operational budget, how can we sort of get that, what more information do we need, and give you all a sense of that and present that at the next meeting. Absolutely.
And I mean, even if we have to pay him a little more, the man has been well worth it.
I didn't quite hear the microphone.
But
We'll just pay it for another 15 hours.
my thing is right now, we need to know where we're at. We don't know where we're at. And I mean, I can't move forward because I don't know where I'm at.
Yeah,
I mean, you're
absolutely.
asking me to do a matching grant. We don't have the money.
Right.
We're asking to do a community center. Well, if we can't do it, then are we gonna owe $1 million too?
Well, I think that's was Deanna's point earlier as to why that she initially was not recommending
where
the
I'm
third
at.
item on your agenda.
I don't know where we're at, and
But we have the ability for that grant source to be used on other things because it's tied to wild spaces.
and that's what I said, I'm good with that, but I still don't know where we're at, and that's where I wanna know. I wanna know where we're at and where we're going.
If it is well within if it doesn't put him over on his hours, we'll have him get that to you ASAP. If he thinks it'll put him over his hours, we'll present you with that.
Just give us a timeline so we can,
Can do.
Madam Mayor, if I could ask a question, if I could just ask a question.
I heard with Commissioner Hope, and I know you keep bringing up with the surplus that we have and so forth. We keep talking about it, but what are we going to do about it? Because that's monies that we're sitting on, that we can get rid of some of this stuff, some of the properties, and it would be an answer. I think it's a greater answer to the solution that if each one of us gave up our, I won't call it a salary. I will call it I don't know what you want to call it, donation, gift, whatever. But if each one of us gave that up, it's a drop in the bucket to what we need. And, but so how do we move forward? How do we move forward on those things?
That money on.
And yes, right. How we move forward on the money that we're sitting on things that that can be sold.
So there are multiple different surplus properties that you all have. It is absolutely on our list. One of the things that is, so absolutely we are working on it. It is not as simple as if you were a private homeowner individual and just putting your house on the market. It is more complicated than that. So we are working on it. One of the things that we're working on is figuring out, so Tony was in the process of a couple of these things. My office has been working on him with a couple of these things. We want to make sure that we're going back and checking everything that was done in those processes. And then we also need to find out sort of where we are with a couple of those. So we are in the process of making sure that we are getting those surplus properties listed, we're getting them put out there, and then we're getting that money in as soon as humanly possible. You will see that in front of you shortly, as quickly as we can get it in front of you.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask, if you have a timeline or something that you can promise us, or, you may not be able to guarantee, but, maybe.
We need to guarantee an agenda so that we can act on it, because we've already acted and it's just sitting collecting dust. I mean, sorry.
Oh, no.
Number two is the end of November. And in January, we, again, Deanna, if you remember, we're to be presented with all of the surplus properties and review them again. Earmark, I mean, to me, that would be a great exercise. It's only 30 days away, or 35, 40 days, and see which of these surplus properties that I keep speaking about, as well as the available ones for us to act on, to either put out to bid, as Mr. Lewandowski has brought forward and said, hey, don't these need to go to bid, or is there a party, these uncompleted, already agreed upon surplus properties. Because my other concern here is our father IRS and our unrestricted reserve, and I meant to bring that tonight for those of you that like to see 14 years of our reserve status unrestricted. I have it in a graph form because I've usually always asked for it. I promise I'll bring it at the next meeting so it doesn't have to dig to find it. I'll get one from Mr. Lee as well. But that includes the surplus properties. And our father IRS will come in and seize those as part of the payment plan. I don't work for the IRS, but they will. So
If they'll trade us, I'll be glad to let them have that grader. Go for it.
No, I'm talking about the surplus properties that we have listed, the 21, 27
Let them have
surplus
the grader.
properties. Okay, thank you.
I'm good.
We can definitely keep to that pre-approved, pre-authorized timeline of the January. In your January meeting, we'll have a list of all of your surplus properties, where the status is regarding them, and what the next steps are. I imagine that there will be several categories of surplus properties regarding how you can move forward. So it will be a little bit more of a detailed discussion rather than just sort of send them all. But we will have that information to you in January.
Question for you. I'm sorry. We have a motion. Uh-oh. For what?
What's the motion?
I forgot it. What was it?
Because we
You
voted
sure?
for
We
the
voted on one.
I don't remember a motion either.
On what subject?
All subjects.
The tabling, we vote, I mean, we made a motion to table, and I thought we voted to,
Yeah,
we
on
agreed
the,
to
on the
that.
cost share,
Yeah.
on the cost share, thing. No, I think we tabled it
We did.
on the cost share thing. That's what it was, okay. You just threw me off, Commissioner. My question. In looking to, the process with the surplus properties, and I know, that there are certain people, as, Commissioner Hope has been, his church has been asking, to purchase a certain property here, but I know Mr. Lewandowski brought up the point about, putting it out for bid. So we're gonna need to know that process as well. Do we have to put it out for bid, or do we honor, you know, the people that has been asking for certain portions. We've had even people that have certain small portions right next to their own property. So we're gonna need to know all that stuff while you're looking into that.
Right, I don't want to make this a prolonged conversation on surplus property, because the mayor's looking at me. And I understand. But what I will tell you is that the all of those are things that we will address with you. I do not have the information offhand to tell you anyone that we've ever had a conversation with. Are we going to honor that? I can't tell you that sitting at this dais today. What I can tell you is that in January at your meeting, you will have the answers to the questions that you are looking for. Absolutely. And there are already some that we are in the process of working with.
That have been approved.
That have already been approved. So if they've already been approved, then they will continue on with that process. We'll get the deeds, we'll get the money transfer, we'll do all of that stuff. Anything that's been pre-approved by this commission. If it has not been approved by this commission, Deanna and I are gonna need to look into what the status of the negotiations have been and whether or not they were bid. But you will have all of that, more information on surplus properties than you've ever wanted or needed in
I'm
January.
gonna be sick.
Because like yesterday, so.
The ones that I keep speaking of, Commissioner Green, are the ones that required the approval of this dais to move forward with expensing, surveying, and appraisal.
I just don't think
Because
that's right.
they were the, what?
I don't think that's right. I know.
Keep going, go ahead.
In the last one that we just gave away, which put these in check to get fully surveyed and appraised after that, was the LBJ Church. And they got it for free because they were going to use it for a public purpose.
Yeah.
The other parties that I keep speaking about did not sign an agreement for it to be for a public purpose, i.e. the church that I keep speaking about, because they wouldn't identify it as a future park for everyone's use. They didn't know whether they would expand the church or not. So that's where it came up for us to approve for appraisal, surveying, and get a price for that identified surplus property, interested party. And this is going back 5, 6, 7 years. I have the letters. Deanna, if we have to, we can research the records on the minutes. It's not just that, this commissioner sitting up here talking about cherry picking things that have already been approved. But I'm just saying as an exercise, we need to do this every January and then bring it forward, publicize it, and see those interested parties, i.e. Corey Harris and 2 affordable houses and properties that were held because one of them was going to have a lift station on it, and we needed to get engineering involved and find out how big of the lift station would cut out of that and whether Corey, as an interested party in his group or whatever, still could build an affordable housing in Holly Hill. So each one has its own set of parameters and requirements, but it's the party that was selected to move forward on, and that's on record. I'm not trying to, get first in line for anything. This has already been done, and money's. And my bigger point now is money's sitting there to recoup on surplus properties already identified with the parties involved that just need to cut the check. Thank you.
All right. Is that it for public comment? I was gonna say, I'm about to hit this gavel, you don't move.
How y'all doing today? All right. Good to see everybody again. I think everybody kind of know what I'm up for.
Make sure you state your name.
Okay, Caleb Young. I am the president of St. Philip's Lodge number 55 right here in Archer, Florida. And it's that time of year again. And we're going to need some help in pulling off our event for giving some toys and bikes away in this community. As you already know, we've been doing it for quite some time now. And the closer we get every year, the more we realize, man, we need some help to make it happen. And so I stand before you tonight, myself and our vice president is here as well, asking for your assistance this year. I really enjoy coming to Archer, or working in Archer and going to the schools and doing all those things. I enjoyed myself at the Red, White, and Boom this year. It wasn't as hot, but it was warm. And so now we're at our signature event. This year is going to be on December the 4th. 14th, I'm sorry. It's been a long day, y'all. Yeah, so December the 14th. And basically, we're asking for your help, and I just hearing just a little bit of some of the things that y'all discussing. I'm like, oh Lord, I don't know if we're gonna be able to get much help. However, it is important. As much as we talk community, this is a way to put our hand to the plow, especially here, as underserved as Archer is, and we look at all the county municipalities and all of those things, and I can truly say that Archer is blessed with the leadership that we have, because of the willingness to kind of help out and make these things available for our children here. And so tonight, I guess I'm levying what to ask for, because I don't know. But man, so
Let me hold the mic.
okay.
Well, maybe. So I did reach out to Stacy Bertrand. I was trying to reach out to, what's her name, Angela Howard, also YMCA, but I did get Stacy. She returned my call, and I talked to Ron today, so he sent me the donation letter. She told me to send her a copy of the donation letter because they have monies sometime that if they don't spend it by the end of the year, it goes away. Right. So she was gonna be trying to look and get back with me to help y'all out, and I asked her if she would do it in honor of us because I know that we are in a tough situation. So I'm also waiting for Angela, and I'm going to petition her as well as soon as she responds.
Do you have a flyer yet? Yes. I mean, that you can present to the city so they can put it on the website, or I can come get one.
Send it to me. Send it to me. I'll send it.
If you could just send it to Deanna or whatever, so we can print them off and get them to the 13 inner city churches.
Yes.
Because again, here I go with my bidding here, but you'd be surprised what sometimes churches will come up with at the end. I mean, and I can twist, my church, and so, but I gotta have something to send to the ruling elders and to the board group at my church, so they see it's real. They know it. They hear me preach it every December, but I gotta have the flyer or something, so that date, time. Thank you. Yes, sir. And the contact information, so once I get the check in my hot hand or whatever I need to.
All right, thank you.
Are you sending it?
Yes, I'm sending it to
Okay, and I'll send it to you as soon as I get it.
And then Deanna can send that out. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. That's awesome. He's sitting while I'm up here. All right, it's on the way to you. Outside of the monies, the assistance that we normally get from your staff members are like tables and some chairs. We're gonna advise. We didn't put it on the flyer that people come out and bring a chair to sit in, because it's kind of we can't ask you all to provide chairs for people to come out and have to a free event. So we're going to encourage them to bring a chair if they want to sit down. As you know, we got a bunch of events going on, and sometimes the parents can't keep up with the kids, and so we have a few seats, but we don't have enough. And so we're going to encourage that they do that part. So we're going to need your support in that, as far as facilities go, the bathrooms working, toiletries.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
We know you're new to this. I don't know why Ron didn't make sure you knew, but there is an event application that you need to do, and it'll have all of those things that you need to check off. You know about it, or did you get it? Okay, so we'll make sure you get that too. I can, I think I have one in my email, but Deanna, if you don't mind, if you'll send me a new one and I can email it to you, and you can get it tomorrow and print it out, fill it out, bring it back.
I think, and so I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I was just asking about when our next city meeting is, so you get that application to us to review if it's before the 14th, and we can act on it just for protocol, so that the things you're talking about tonight in your head, if it's on that application, then you can get the review and a motion and approval or disapproval or questions we have and get it before the 14th.
December 9th, so.
Our next meeting is the 9th, so if you can get it back to Deanna, so it's
By the 5th.
by the 5th of December.
Yeah.
Hey, Sam, don't wait till.
Sorry.
Right. I'll get it right.
But then it's real, I mean, it's not a copy application.
Yeah, we're kind of I think everybody's kind of short on the funding bit, but the kids don't understand that. And so while it's easy just to say, no, let's do it next year, that's just not even a question. So I'm going to be at the churches as well. Thank you so much for being an advocate at your place of worship. Yeah, absolutely. And it's just not an option. We want to do it, even if it ends up being on a smaller scale due to funding. We got to do it. And I think it should be. We should be in a place where we can say, "Hey, listen, we did the best we can." That's what I'm saying. And so that's it. And I'm open for any questions that you may have of me or my vice president while I'm standing here.
I'd just like to say we appreciate. I just like to say we appreciate you all doing what you do for the community, and the kids really do look forward to it. And I think my board would most likely make the donation like we did last year from the Archer Church of God in Christ. So I'm sure that they'll do what they did last year.
We appreciate it too.
And I was gonna say some of the same thing. Thank you, guys. We really do appreciate it, and you're right, the kids look forward to it. And not just the kids, adults do too, because before I even thought about it, other people were asking about it. So it is something that the community expects from you. So thank you for doing it, and we're doing the best we can with what we have. So we're gonna be begging some people to help. All right, but thank you so much. Mhm. All right, I guess that's it.
Very brief. The last meeting a couple weeks ago, Commissioner Hope recommended a budget workshop meeting, and I was under the impression that's what this was. Is that what this was this evening?
Sit on, so it wasn't not saying a drag sit on, so it wasn't not saying a drag out meeting, but it was focused to our corrective action problem. And I said it could be a workshop if we don't want to establish and agree to a second meeting each month. And the dais voted and agreed to 2 meetings a month by resolution, which was presented by the attorney. I wanted every Monday, and they thought I was overkill and needed to send me out of here. So I got two formal meetings. So you get what you get, Ms. Robeson.
Thank you, that's what I was gonna ask. What's your last name again? But Roberson.
Robertson, yes.
Robertson.
That's okay.
I've always said Robeson, I'm sorry.
That's fine. Thank you so much.
Thank you for clarification. Yes, ma'am.
You're good.
All right, meeting adjourned at 7:45. Y'all have a good night and a good week. Happy Thanksgiving.
Keep an eye on my house.